Let's make a plant-based mushroom Wellington. Welcome back to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we're going to make this beautiful mushroom Wellington, which would be perfect for your holiday feast because really it is a showstopper and it tastes just as delicious as it looks. So we're going to jump right in. I already have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. I've got one onion here, diced, pretty small, and we're going to start getting that frying. I'm not going to put any oil in my pan because I'm going to cook my mushrooms with it. And this is just 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. And as those mushrooms cook, they're going to release some of their juices, and that's going to keep it from sticking and help the onions to keep from sticking also. But if it does start to stick a little bit, I have some vegetable broth here. And you can just, do about a tablespoon at a time as it's sticking, and it'll come right up. All right, our mushrooms are cooked down. They're nice and brown, and the onions have cooked down. So we're gonna add, we have 2 cloves of minced garlic in here. And you don't need to cook it too long. I'm just gonna use the residual heat from this stuff to kind of cook it. And we're gonna add our other ingredients here. I have ½ teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, and I have 3/4 cup of black lentils that I've already cooked. And if you can't find black lentils, you can also use just regular brown lentils or green lentils. Those are fine too. I just really like the flavor and the consistency of these. I think they're absolutely delicious. And then we're going to give a little bit of cracked pepper. And we're just going to stir that together here and let it cook just a little bit, just to kind of meld the flavors together a little bit, get those seasonings kind of cooked into it a little bit. All right, while that's finishing, I'm going to grab our ingredients for that beautiful crust.
Whether you are new to a plant-based diet or are a seasoned home chef, it can be a welcome relief to have someone else do the cooking at the end of a busy day. Whole Harvest is a meal delivery service offering nationwide shipping of authentic whole food plant-based meals that are oil-free and low in sodium with no added sugar. All meals are chef prepared fresh and come ready to eat in vacuum sealed containers, so you can just pop open the container, heat, and eat with no additional meal prep or cooking required. Simply choose your favorites from a wide variety of meals to create your weekly delivery box. It's that easy. As a special discount for our viewers, use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save $30 off your first order.
All right, so let's get this crust made. So this is 1 cup of rolled oats that I just lightly blended in my NutriBullet. And I have 1 cup of almond flour, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and that's going to kind of give it that buttery flavor, kind of like a pastry crust would give you. 1/4 cup of arrowroot flour, and we're going to whisk that together first, just our dry ingredients, just to make sure they're all mixed well. Okay. And I have 2 tablespoons of flax meal and about 1/3 cup of water that I've already let soak so that it will start, setting up like this, because that's going to hold all of this together, along with 1 cup of sweet potato, mashed sweet potato. This is a white sweet potato, but you could also use an orange sweet potato or even a purple sweet potato. But of course, that will change how your Wellington is going to look, the color of it. And I use the white one just because it's a little bit more of the traditional look. It's going to turn a nice golden brown color. But if you have the orange sweet potato, of course, it's going to be a little bit more orange. But it tastes just as good. All right, so we're going to put all this together. And then I'm just going to lightly stir a little bit just to get that stuff coated. And then I'm going to use my pastry cutter here, just to kind of mix it initially, just because it gets a little bit nicer texture going. And we don't have to add any additional liquid unless your sweet potato is really dry, but usually it has just enough moisture. And with the flax meal, to get it to all stick together. You just have to work it a little bit here. All right, once it's all coming together with your pastry cutter, you can kind of do the rest with your hands, just so we can get it to stick together into a ball, because we're going to roll this out flat. So it needs to start out as a ball. Okay. All right, so in this next step, you're going to need some parchment paper and a rolling pin. So I have 2 pieces of parchment paper, and then I have this. So I'm going to kind of press it into, you know, more of a longer oval shape, because we're going to roll this into a rectangle. But I'm just going to press it down a little bit first with my hands. And then we put the other piece of parchment paper on top. And then we use our rolling pin. And it's a really nice soft dough, so it doesn't take that much pressure to roll it out. Okay, and the rest of it you can kind of just mash with your hands just to press it out so it's a nicer shape, you know, a little bit more rectangular. And if you have thin spots, you know, this isn't like a pastry crust where it's just going to crumble apart. You can, you know, pick up chunks of it and stick it somewhere else. It works just fine, and it will stick to each other or to itself really well. But we do want to get kind of a straight edge all the way around, and once we fold this up, you'll see why. Okay, now I'm going to grab our other ingredients so that we can get this assembled. Okay, we are ready to assemble. So first of all, I had 2 cups of frozen spinach here that I let thaw out, and then I kind of squeezed some of that juice out because we don't want any of that extra moisture to be inside of here, because it will make the crust go soggy. So we're going to put that first. That's going to be on the bottom. And it seems like I would be putting things this way, right? But we're going to put this stuff in the center, and the sides are going to fold over it. So we're just going to put our spinach. I'm going to spread it out on the bottom. And you don't want to go all the way to the edge, because you're going to need the edge to be open for crimping when we fold that over. So you just want to kind of evenly spread it just along the bottom and in the center of this rectangle. About, you know, a good 2 to 3 inches wide. Then we're going to put this mixture on the top, our mushroom and onion mixture. And it looks like a lot, but you kind of want a nice, you know, nice size mound, so that it doesn't turn into just a flat log. You know, we want this to be a nice puffy looking, like roast wrapped in pastry. I'm just going to make it a little bit more even here, flatten out the top a little bit. All right. And you can just take your parchment, because if you just try to peel this up right now, it will probably break apart. So you just take that parchment like that, and then place it back down so it stays on your cookie sheet, because that's going to keep this guy from sticking to your cookie sheet. And then you do your other side over the top, just like that. Look at that, guys. It's coming along perfectly. And then your edge. So you can kind of pull up the edge a little bit to kind of pinch it together. And then just gently pressing it down. And you know, you can do a nice little scalloped edge on it if you want. You know, if you're gonna get fancy with it. I'm gonna keep it just, you know, pretty simple. You know me, I like my rustic little bakes here. And this, you don't even have to do that much to press this together. It's gonna stick to itself. So you don't really have to crimp that edge at all, but then you crimp the back edge too. Same thing. Just to keep all of that goodness inside while it's baking. And you probably will have some juices that are going to ooze out just a little bit, but it's not going to harm anything. You'll just get a little bit more of that brownness. Okay, so now that our edges are done, then just to make a nice design, if you've ever made a Wellington before, if you've seen what they look like, they kind of do a cross-hatching type of design on it. So I'm just going to do diagonal cuts. I'm not cutting all the way through, I'm just cutting through the surface just a little bit. Just kind of rocking my knife a little bit so that it doesn't cut all the way through, all the way to the corners. And then you do your other diagonal, the opposite direction. And this is going to make it look so beautiful. And really, you could do whatever design you like. I just think this particular pattern is so pretty. All right, so our oven is already preheated to 400 degrees, and we're going to stick it in for 40 minutes. And about 5 to 10 minutes before it's done, you can use the remaining vegetable broth that you have, or you can get a little bit extra, and you can just lightly baste the surface of it if you want. It will turn nice and golden brown by itself, but if you just want a little bit more of that, a little bit of a shine to it, you can just lightly glaze it.
While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of free printable recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook series, are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting membership community. So if you love our recipes, I invite you to join us on our mission to make plant-based cooking easy, and follow the link in the description to become a supporting member today. There's no denying the plant-based diet is a nutrient powerhouse, but did you know there are a handful of hard-to-get nutrients even well-crafted diets are often lacking? The latest research suggests that complementing your diet with a few specific vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s will help boost your energy and keep you thriving for the long term. That's why my daily health routine includes Complement Essential. Complement Essential contains the 8 critical nutrients lacking from most plant-based diets in dosages optimized specifically for us. As a special discount for our viewers, just use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save 15% off of your order.
Okay, so while our Wellington is cooking, we're gonna make a very simple but amazingly delicious little mushroom gravy. So I have 4 ounces of sliced mushrooms that we're just gonna cook down really quickly here. I'm gonna put half a teaspoon of smoked paprika in with it, and a half teaspoon of onion powder, and then just a teeny bit of vegetable broth just to get it started cooking. So I'm going to cook that down until all of that moisture wicks out, and then I'll show you how to finish it off. Okay, our mushrooms are done, and I'm going to put them in our little NutriBullet thing here. That side. And then I've got half a teaspoon of miso. It's going to give it a little bit of a saltiness and also a little bit of rich flavor. Then I've got a tablespoon and a half of arrowroot powder, but you could also use cornstarch. That will work too. And I'm going to put about half of our vegetable broth in there. This is 2 cups of low sodium vegetable broth, because I just want to blend the mushrooms till they're completely pulverized. All right. Now we're going to pour that back into our saucepan. And we're going to pour in the rest of our vegetable broth. And I just do that because it's easier to blend the mushrooms with a little bit less liquid. If there's too much liquid in there, then it takes longer to get everything really consistently blended together. So now we're just going to cook this on medium-high until it is the thickness that you like. All right, it is out of the oven, guys. Come in and take a look at it. It's so gorgeous. I'm so happy with this. And the gravy is finished too. Oh man, I just can't wait to dig into this, but I'm gonna let it cool for a little bit and then I'll meet you at the table for a taste. All right, let's cut into this Wellington. I hate to cut into it, it's so pretty. Oh, look at that. It's still pretty hot. Let's see. All right, there we go. Look at that, how beautiful. You can really see all of the spinach and the mushrooms. I'm gonna pour a little bit of this gravy on here. Woohoo! Gravy. So delicious. Come on back next week for another great recipe.